leader is going to approach the residence of the President of Kazakhstan. It is expected that the two leaders will come to the agreements, since it is the very first visit and the meeting at the highest level between the two leaders. So it will be a chance to also deepen engagement with African country for Kazakhstan, which is a continent rich in resources, growing in influence, and increasingly important to global trade and logistics. Another important area of cooperation is peacekeeping. We can mention that in June 2022, Kazakhstan's parliament approved President Tokayev's proposal to send Kazakh peacekeepers to UN missions, including in the DRC. So more recently, in March 2025, the DRC supported the UN General Assembly resolution to establish the UN Regional Center for Sustainable Development Goals in Almaty, which is a major platform to coordinate international efforts across Central Asia and Afghanistan. Now we can see that two leaders already inside of the residence of the President of Kazakhstan. We can see that the DRC leader is greeting the Kazakh delegation. Since it is the state visit of the President, it means that there will be meetings in both expanded and narrow formats. Also, there will be meeting with a businessman. So this level of visit means that it is the highest that could happen between the two leaders. Now we can see the President Tokayev is in turn greeting the delegation that has come to us from the Democratic Republic of Congo. So on the economic front, trade between Kazakhstan and the DRC remains quite modest. It's just $4.7 million in last year, but the potential, as experts say, is quite significant. The Eurasian Resources Group have already operated in the DRC, and we will come to other insights between the two states a few moments later. So the welcoming ceremony is wrapping up now in Astana on September 10th, 2025, as the President of Kazakhstan, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, has welcomed personally inside of the residence the leader of DRC. Let me remind you that the President of Kazakhstan called and invited him personally this year, and now both sides are preparing agreements to expand cooperation from political consultations to mining and geology, and even an investment protection treaty. So as experts say for Kazakhstan, this visit opens doors to broader trade with Africa, one of the world's largest and fastest growing continents, as well as opportunities in digitalization, public services, infrastructure, and logistics. It's also worth remembering that the DRC is not only the 18th largest country in the world by territory, but also the fourth most populous nation in Africa, with over 130 million people, rich in natural resources, vital for modern technologies. It holds a strategic position in the global economy. Now let's turn to our political analyst, Ozhet Shingirbayev. So we have seen the welcoming ceremony here at the residence. What do you think? What is the main interest of both sides to each other? Why this visit is now happening in Astana in 2025? What does it mean?
Yeah, well done. As you already noted, DRC is quite rich country. It has a lot of mines, copper, cobalt, copper,
right,
other raw materials. And Kazakhstan, we already have the good experience in this sphere. So we have a very good mining code. We have some companies, we have some junior companies, right, who can help them with their experience, maybe help them with some technical assistance. This is the first thing. The second thing is, if we look a little bit broader about the Kazakhstan-African cooperation, we can see that in a few years, Kazakhstan, step by step, is strengthening cooperation, tightening its ties with Africa. So we saw the spring this year. We saw the visits of ministers of foreign affairs of Sierra Leone, Burkina Faso to Kazakhstan.
Earlier this year.
Yeah, during Astana International Forum, there was a special session about the Kazakhstan-African cooperation. And this is the first steps, as you already mentioned, is the first steps and for tightening the cooperation between Kazakhstan and Africa. We saw the huge trade turnover in 2022. It was about 1 billion of USD between Kazakhstan and Africa in total.
Now it's just millions of them.
No, it was around 800 million.
4.7 million USD in 24.
It's with DRC. I'm talking about the whole Africa.
I see.
So Kazakhstan is trying to strengthen not only with DRC, but in each African country, in separate and in general. So last year it was around 780 millions of USD trade turnover between Kazakhstan and Africa. Of course, we have some obstacles, like, as you mentioned, the logistics. A few years ago, the Vice Premier, Mr. Jumangarin, he noted that we are trying to find our way to African countries, mainly into the Eastern Africa, through the north-south corridor, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, and Iran, through this route, and then by the sea. So when we will, I think, when we will solve the problem with logistics, we will see the rise of export.
Yes, earlier this week we heard the address of President Tokayev that we will maintain this policy that will focus not only on few continents but as well as with the whole world, and this visit actually proves that. But still, Kazakhstan is looking for win-win cooperations. You have just mentioned that what Kazakhstan can give to the DRC. What about what DRC can give to us, except for the national resources? What's interest as well? And also, what is the place of DRC in the foreign policy of Kazakhstan?
As you already mentioned, DRC already supported some of our initiatives, like opening the regional hub for sustainable development in Almaty. And as President Tokayev already announced, he has a broad vision, and he will announce it during the UN General Assembly session in a few weeks, when he will announce his vision about the reorganization, maybe
on the
reforms of UN as general. So mainly the African countries, they can support some of Kazakhstan's ideas. support some of our agenda on such a platforms like General Assembly of UN. I think it's quite a huge and quite big asset for Kazakhstan.
Yes, so you already mentioned that we support each other's initiatives on a global perspective. How do you think, in what perspective, in what extent does it help to also have ties between DRC and broader Central Asian region?
Well, as we can see now, Kazakhstan is trying to position itself also as a gate to the Central Asian region, because we have because we have some kind of good legislation, we have some kind of new ways, we have good infrastructural projects, and we already have a good infrastructure projects. So we are trying to position ourselves as a gate to the Central Asia. And through us, some kind of maybe new ideas, maybe new investments, if there will be some of, can go not only to Kazakhstan, but also to other Central Asian states. And we already discussed it, I think, when we talked about the Kazakhstan-Italian cooperation, that Kazakhstan trying to strengthen cooperation with other middle powers, with other middle countries, to gain some kind of support of their ideas.
So to sum up, Ojit, what agreements do you think will be concluded this time? Because the diplomatic ties were recently, like in 2022, just established. So we don't have this legislation to work with each other. So what will be the key outcomes of this visit, do you think?
I think maybe not the signing, but maybe a discussion of the investment protection agreement is one of the keys agreement. Maybe some agreement about the taxation between two countries. This is two basic agreements to help and to strengthen the investment ties between two countries. In future, I think, well, of course, it's mining cooperation, but maybe export of some satellites. Not so long ago, the Ministry of Innovation and Aerospace Industry, they said that Kazakhstan already has the true agreements to export our Kazakhstani satellites to Congo, to Nigeria, and to Mongolia. If they're talking about the development of the mining industry in DRC, maybe Kazakhstan can help them with this.
So thank you very much, Ojit, for your insights. So now, as the official welcome ceremony at the presidential residence concluded, we can say thank you for joining us and our Silkway TV channel. I was joined by Ojit Chikirbayev, political analyst and scientist. Turn on Silkway TV channel on Saturday 1 a.m. Astana time for new time program to hear what happened throughout this week in Kazakhstan and Central Asia. Thank you very much for joining us.